blissful. And it's Monday night, which means we've got Brad Chester, the tallest man in 40K, Mr. Brian Horton, Mr. Tom Ogden, and we've got Abaddon as our special guest.
Why can't we have someone cool? Why is it always gonna be like Abaddon?
We're just bringing these low rent, barely relevant guys in 40K. We had some stuff go down this weekend. We had the BFS team tournament that Mr. Brian Horton was the head judge at. We had several big events, and we had another weekend of just randomness. I mean, you guys can't say randomness. At the tops, things stayed the same, but the middle's always just kind of mixing up, and I like it. I've got a couple questions for you guys this week also during when we do this cap here. So, how goes the day?
I mean, for me, it was an absolutely fantastic weekend. Got to go to BFS. There was 18 eight-man teams at the event, part of the National Tabletop League. It was absolutely fantastic. It was contentious and tight right down to the very end. Everyone was struggling for every point. It came down to third tiebreaker to decide the winner, which Art of War did take the title this year. Congratulations to them. There was also BFS Chimera and Tundra Tactics.
Tundra was there. There's a couple of really good teams.
And I mean, Stat Check was there. That was a killing field of people playing at that event. There was a lot of first-time teams too, just trying out 8-man for the first time, and some of them having much better success than they intended. There was a lot of great spirit. There was a ton of camaraderie. Everyone was having a good time. A little bit of wonkiness trying to get used to for those who hadn't played WTC charge rules before, and a little bit of the WTC terrain rules. But it was really interesting.
Judging that, let's go into that real quick, because one of those rules that can make a difference, because for the longest time, the WTC rule was just if you could make the charge, you were just considered basically to be in the wall, period, and then you moved in as the permitted, but you just basically based up on the wall and fought through, almost as if you were a vehicle fighting someone within an inch. What's the difference now? Because it's significantly different now.
So sure, the basics of it is when you're declaring your charge at somebody that is behind a ruin, you put a token next to the model, and that model then can use the wall itself as the barricade rule. So 2-inch engagement range. But if you are legally able to place a model into base contact, you must place that model into base contact. So it was one of those things of where you have to pick and choose things. So if somebody was like half an inch behind the wall, a lot of times that barricade came into effect. If somebody was 1.5 inches behind the wall and you were charging something with 40 mil bases, you were still using the barricade rule. And then every once in a while, there'd be like a spot for one model to get in, and then other models be using the barricade rule. There's some little nuances and a little difference of movement to it, but that's the basic gists of it. It's a interesting rule, especially like Ed's terrain for Battle for Salvation is a little bit older terrain made with foam, but when you're making terrain as a TO and you got to keep costs down, it's a good way to do it. It looks really nice. His walls are a little bit thicker, so you have to there has to be some give and take on that side of things. So this barricade rule worked really great with that terrain. And of course, 8 different table layouts, every table being different in those 8 tables that you're playing at, made for some really interesting games, some interesting mechanics. It really did affect the game. So it was really fun.
Damn, Zoobs. Damn, that wall is thick.
There was a couple where the walls were like 1.5 inches thick. It was is what it is. But it was good. It was good.
So what was your favorite moment of the event?
So my favorite moment of the tournament was getting asked a rules question that I hadn't had come up before. And it was really with Desperate Outbreak from a tank back, a Lehman Russ backing up. and dying to Desperate Outbreak. And then it was like, oh, can I shoot on death because of the shoot on death rule? And having to go, all right, let's research this so I can answer the rule correctly.
I kind of want to know what the rule is for this thing. Can it?
So the rule is it cannot, right?
Okay.
And part of the reason
because isn't it in your opponent's shooting phase?
So it's during your movement phase when you fall back.
No, I'm saying, but that isn't their rule.
No, it's when it dies.
Oh, just when it dies. Period.
It says when it dies. So when you Desperate Outbreak, you before making the move die. All right. So then you have to go to out of phase rules, which says that things that happen out of phase are not affected by other rules. So therefore, big guns never tire. You are still within engagement range. Doesn't work. So therefore, you can't shoot it.
Okay.
Also, WTC and their FAQ clarification do make this very clear in their breakdown of out of phase rules, including pistols in as well. So, but it was one of those things of hadn't had it come up before, had to read everything just to make sure I could give the players the, hey, this is why, here's A, here's B, here's C, because as most people know when I make rulings, I like to show you why that's the ruling.
And the big thing, I do like going to the WTC. Sometimes they have wonky rulings, but that is a rules document that has been okayed by somewhere between 30 and 40 countries. You know what I mean? Is it always the exact best rule? No, but it's the rule that made it through multiple languages and multiple countries to be, accepted as a rule. So, if you can argue with that many people and still get it accepted, I'll just go ahead and say that's the rule.
Hold on a minute. Non-40K question. Going to the wall. Because me and Brad have not talked since the draft, actually. All these Raider fans, that's me and Brad, for people who know, we're diehard Raider fans. I don't know why we're fucking diehard Raider fans after this draft. Because we still do dumb shit.
Sometimes you need 2 tight ends and some offensive linemen, yo.
Who's going to play quarterback for us this year?
I said exactly what I put in chat. Dan Marino.
Anyway, so back to 40K. So as the nice part about doing BFS was seeing some different combinations on the table, which was really nice. Seeing some kind of, I don't want to say out there lists, but some different lists, some different builds trying to take advantage of the team's format. Watching the 8-man pairings for, I think, the second or third time I've ever been live with them in person was really cool. Watching some of the people do things, it's really interesting.
It's wild because of the fact that you see a lot of things that you just wouldn't normally see. Matchups you wouldn't see, that people wouldn't want to play. But then you go, hey, I was talking to Gagne right before this, and he's like, yeah, they defended with me. He was playing Tau. And he goes, I defended, they gave me an open board. And you're like, I didn't really care if people knew if it was coming or not, because, okay, take Tau on a wide open board. Welcome to Flavor Town. Let's do this.
And as Zoob says right here, I think we saw more Custodes versus Custodes and Necron versus Necron pairings than I've ever seen before. Because the teams were just like, all right, let's see which player's better. Bang, bang.
Well, it's a big deal a lot of times on that, because you don't want one of those. Custodes and Necrons are great armies for putting a dent in your opponent's big scoring armies. So it's a big deal to just get those the hell away from, because you don't want. I don't want my Tom playing the Necrons or something. I mean, he of course would pick them all up, as he will tell us every time. But I don't want.
I'd lose them. Talking about.
I don't want my big smash armies playing against things that can drag their points down. And Necrons and Custodes can do that. Several of them. Death Guard too. Those are the defenders where you just don't want your big hitters into those. So yeah, I'd rather have.
It seems like it's such a weird thing to try to pair it into, because whoever's going to attack with it, you just gave the person who's defending a call advantage because they picked the board. And if you don't have the same exact list, and if they have like a more shooty list than that,
most of the Necrons versus Necron matchups, I'm not going to say all, but most of them ended up being Hypercrypt versus Canaptic.
I would take that.
The board has the advantage.
Yeah, 100%. Especially if you're the defender as the Canoptic. I'm going to go to the wall here. Probability $1.09 super chat. Baby boy is here tonight. Go blue.
Go blue, baby. So, I owe you guys a podcast. I missed the last couple weeks.
Corey
was
called
running
you out
three
on that.
districts.
Tom would score
Yeah.
0 because he wouldn't show up for the tournament.
Yeah.
I do. I want to go to the.
Hold on a minute. Two things. One,
Yeah.
I've been running multiple districts, so that's where I've been for the last couple weeks. I don't know if you know, it's enough work running one district. When you're running 3, it drives you insane. My phone never shut the fuck. I wouldn't have been able to go into the thing for you. I've already had taken ask Brian 4 work calls, and I have it ringing now as we speak. It's just a phone, which is on mute though right now. I wouldn't do it with 3 districts. And 2, I've never bailed on a team tournament. Bailed on some single tournaments. I don't give a shit about singles. I'm always there for teams, and if I can't, I find a good replacement.
Remember,
There's only been
I
one.
gotta say, watching the team's tournament as a judge, and I've judged another
God
team's
damn
tournament
it.
as a 5-man. Go ahead, bud.
Hunter Nagel, $1.09 super chat. Sorry I'm late. Go blue.
Go blue, baby. Go blue.
So,
How
I've
much?
judged 5-man.
How much do we have to donate, Brad, for you to start wearing a Michigan shirt to these?
I would
shows?
burn my skin.
But Brad, money talks. I've seen you do worse things for $5.
I mean, you're 100%
So I'm
right.
saying for $3.25, $3.25 if you wear a Michigan shirt next week.
Ugh, that makes me unhappy. I'm going to go to the wall. We'll talk about this in a minute because I want to go to Zoob's comment because one of the things is a lot of people don't get on pairings on that is people make mistakes all the time. I see in pairing, and I've done pairings for forever, is that they try to get good matchups when what you should actually be trying to do is staying away from bad matchups. Let your players have an opportunity to have an opportunity. Basically, let them play. God damn it.
I love these guys so much.
Go to the wall. Al Dixon, $2 super chat. Sorry I'm late. Bo glue.
So one of the things that we saw, and Zoobs was there with me judging, and great work for Zoobs. I mean, we put, if you haven't been to BFS before, it's in a mall, concrete floors with a little bit of carpeting over the top of them. It is a lot of foot time running to judge because it's across a couple rooms. It was a lot of mileage put on our feet over the weekend. And one of the things we saw was during matchups, we were like, oh man, I can crush that 120. I can crush that 20-0. And then when I was watching a lot of the teams that are the seasoned veterans of team play, we'll say, where they were like, I'm pretty sure I can eke out a 12-8 on this one, but if you give me that one, the most I'm going to score is 5. If you give me that, I might 20-0 it, but it'll really cost us over here where we're going to lose a 20-0. So I think we'll go for that 12-8 matchup. And those were the kind of nuances and the interesting dynamics that I saw going on. It was really neat watching people do their matrices and put that together.
A lot of times you're just taking one so that the rest of the team opens up. I do it a lot. But you have to look at the total.
Fucking hate it.
Yep. But here, I have a question for this before we move on to more meta stuff. What are the differences between judging a team event and judging a singles event? Or are there any? It just feels like there would be.
There are definitely differences because a lot of times teams will take a second and go, oh, no. Dude, that's how that works. That's how it works. Where in a singles event, no one wants to interfere in someone else's game at any point in time. When it's a team, you're trying to help your teammate along and you're trying to help them get their game done. So every once in a while, they'll kind of be like, they'll ask their coach, hey, what happens here? And the coach will give them some advice or some aid to help them along. That was the biggest difference I saw was we got a lot less of the little rules calls. But I noticed in the team stuff, I got a lot more calls about line of sight than I ever have before, because that in teams, losing by 7 points versus losing by 10 points or 12 points is a huge difference. So sometimes one objective at the end of the game where you're trying to get that last model off is huge. Where in singles, if you win, you win. When you're using WTC with score differential, that changes that dynamic a lot of trying to grind out those last few points. So those were the things that I saw were the things that in a singles event would be a little less contentious were a little bit more contentious, and that you wanted to, fight for those last little points for your teammates because you got 7 other guys that you're supporting and bringing along with you.
100%. And the thing is that all the points count. It's a huge deal. I told this story multiple times. Just getting the one gave us the win, because just a couple points here and there can make a huge difference when you're talking to 8-man, because you need 86 points to rock over. You know what I mean? So a lot of times, and look at the results over the weekend. You had so many ties. Even a couple points either kept them from losing, or God damn it, or kept them from losing, or kept them, the other team basically gave them in the draw here. Oh, looks like I have a $9.99 super chat from Thomas Ogden. Should have been from Jonas Ogden. Hail to the victors, valiant hail to the conquering heroes, hail, hail to Michigan. The leaders and best, hail to the victors, valiant hail to the conquering heroes, hail, hail to Michigan. You know what? I'll throw it into the end just for you, Tom. Go Blue.
Thank you.
So I mean, one of the great parts that I found in the teams thing, there was a player on one of the teams who was clearly the guy who got thrown to the bus a couple times. He was a little down. He was like, yeah, I was really trying. And he goes, but I only got 2 points. And he was like, I got an 18-2. And I'm like, dude, what'd they tell you were gonna get? And he was like, I probably should have got skunked, but I made a couple good moves and squeaked it out. And his team won because of those 2 points. And he was so happy and so jazzed after that. He was like, yeah, I'll take the 20-0 loss the next time. I don't care. And he kept trying to squeak those points, and he kept getting a little bit better each time, figuring it out. So it's really
a big deal. It's a hard thing on that. Hotshot, why was the 10-point range for the draw at BFS? I think it's always that. You got to get it's 85 to 75 is a draw, and then 86 is the win.
Correct.
So that is standard for 8-man teams.
Yep, that is exactly what it is in the WTC player packet. We use the WTC player packet directly.
Yeah, and that's why every point counting is such a huge deal. You have to really match that, because you got to figure that you're looking for your 8s, your 9s, any points. We had 3 draws. You got to have everybody scramble. It's such a big deal, because when you get more and more team experience, you'll find that the figuring out, and Riley had put it earlier, a lot of times people put in that they're going to get 20s and stuff, and you got to make sure that you're not you're either not saying you're going to get 0s, you're not going to get 20s, when you're not going to get either one, because there's a big difference between an army that's going to smash you and an army that's going to win against you, but you're going to get points. And the same thing is different when you're talking about whether you're going to get a 20 or whether you just win against this army. That's a huge difference.
So, I remember the first time me and Brad did an 8-man team together, and we met Brad had this thing. He made us submit all our pairing matrix, what we think we do against the armies, and we were gonna have a call the next day to go over. So we had to submit them to him and PJ, go over next day. And Brad's like, Ogden, what the fuck's wrong with your pairing matrix? I'm like, what's wrong? I actually put a lot of thought in that. I thought I did pretty good. What's wrong? He goes, yeah, the worst you have ever is a 15-5.
He's like, that's my bad match.
I said, it's a bad matchup. I might only get 15-point victories. What are you talking about? It's pretty bad. Brad's like, no. Brad's like, from now on, Tom, you will not submit your own matrices anymore. We'll do it for you. I'm like, all right.
Tom got a timeout from doing a matrix. But we're also on the call. We were talking the pairings. We tried to do mock pairing stuff. And I'm like, all right, what does that leave us with? And Tom's like, I will beat that guy by 23. I'm like, Tom, you can only score a 20. Nope, doesn't matter. 23. I'm like, all right, so he's not here anymore for this.
And the funny thing, we went to BFS like a couple years ago. I was like, yeah, I'm going to go 8-0. He's like, all right, so you're just adding extra rounds.
No, that was the thing. Great. Tom was getting out of bed. He got super fired up. Tom goes, the actual quote was, Tom goes, I'm going to go 6-0. And I'm like, Tom, that's just not going to happen. And he's like, I will bet you this amount of money. And then he keeps escalating it. I go, no problem. I will take this bet. And he's looking at me, and I'm like, he seems really confident. And I'm like, well, you just said you're going to go 6-0 in a 5-game tournament. So you're going to play somebody in the alley around back or something? I don't really know what's going to happen here.
And everyone's like, what the fuck are you talking about? Tom Brad's like, listen, it's Tom. You don't really read the packet rules until he gets there.
Lyle.
So I gotta go with something Zoobs just messaged about the team's event. Ton of Traction, Art of War, Pro Tabletop were there. Three really good teams, including the BFS team that was a hodgepodge of a lot of local teams that put together a great team.
The BFS team was nasty, dude.
Yeah.
Chimera?
Yeah, Chimera was just rough. But when you saw some teams that came that were just the guys that were just coming for fun, having a good time, enjoying some 40K, trying teams out for the first time. One of the guys played against an Art of War member, and he was like, "Oh man," he goes, "I'm gonna get thumped," and he did. He lost 12-8.
Close game, man.
And it was a close game. It came down to the wire, and it wasn't like, you know, the guy from Art of War was toying with him. The guy played a great game against him. He barely lost, and he was like smiling from ear to ear, so happy, because on the matrix that his team had, at the most he was supposed to get was a 4, so he was just like jumping up and down with joy. You know, he was like, "Oh man," he goes, "if we had only got 2 more points, we could have forced a draw against Art of War." And I'm like, "Man, that is good on you that you guys did that well." And it was just one of those little things that I see in teams that I don't see in singles so much, is that just the happiness of helping out your fellows that you're with.
Also, because a loss is a loss in singles, while in teams, a loss could be, who cares? You got way more points than you were supposed to, like that. You know what I mean? It's super helpful. It's great.
Like, yeah, I think you have, like, we went to, was the one, Battle Brothers one, right? And we played with Brandon Volley on our team, super solid fucking player in our team, like great, you know, just won Adepticon, amazing tile player. He got smoked one round. But then I think he had some of the highest points in the entire team, because the other 4 or 5 rounds where we played, he absolutely dominated, right? It's like you can have that one bad game and not take you out of the event.
Yeah, because your team helps you up. You don't feel like you're out. You can still win. You're still in it. Hotshot, how do you make a real pairing matrix?
Either the most or second most points on our team for the whole tournament.
Right, buried people.
Yeah.
So yeah, Brad, I'd love you to answer that Hotshot's question there.
It's tough on that, because how do you make a real pairing matrix? It depends on how deep you want to go, because the answer to that can get very complex, because you can make a pairing matrix. Preferably you make a pairing matrix that takes the terrain, the table and the mission into play, because there's a big difference when you're attacking Imperial Guard or whether you're defending an Imperial Guard, or what the mission is, or whether it's a 6 objective mission with hidden supplies, or whether it's vital ground with 2, you know what I mean, in the middle there, 4 total. So, but what you want to do is break it down. You want to get real information. There's nothing worse than when you're trying to do pairings, and Brian tells me that he's supposed to beat Custodes, and then I go to pair it, and he's like, "Well, not on this mission, on this table," you know, because he's defending and now he's dug in. I'm never going to be able to get him out. So you have to be cognizant about your pairing matrix, about what the terrain is, what the mission is. The mission is second to the terrain, to be honest with you, because you can play around the mission a bit. You can't play around a wide open table if you try to take your melee army on Planet Bowling Ball into Tower Guard. You know what I mean? It's going to be just different.
So just don't do what Brad does for pair matrix.
Yeah. So Dorian, just to answer your question really quick about Salt City, it is a viable tournament to take place in. We still have tickets available for 40K. We probably will get the full 100 people for that, and possibly have to add. So I would sign up soon if you're going to make it up this way this summer in Syracuse.
Brad's pair matrix is very simple. We're getting a call. He does most of the talking on our matrix calls. And obviously, from the story I shared earlier, I'm not even allowed to talk most of the time on pair matrix. I don't even know why I'm required to be on them sometimes when we have them. But anyways, Brad will have this elaborate plan and everything set up, and we show up to do our pairing matrix, and Brad just wings it. Like, everything we plan, and he'd be like, and I remember one time we went to a tournament, he's like, "Yeah, no matter what, we're never going to put this matchup into this." And we go, it's like the second round of that tournament. And Brad's like, "You know what? We might do that."
It seems better.
Sets up the rest of our matches really well. I was like, "But Brad, you said never to do that." He goes, "Today we're doing it."
Never say never, Tom.
Yeah.
Dude, Lyle Dixon with a $5 super chat. Pairings matrices are boring. Tell me what your record will be if I accidentally pair you to the wrong match. This is a good story, actually. This was at North Carolina at Battle Brothers, down at Juice's place. So we have our pairings. This is exactly what we're supposed to do. 100%. This is what we're doing. And then Lyle just grabs the wrong card and slams it down. And we're like, "What are you doing, man?" He's like, "Well, I was supposed to put down." I'm like, "Yeah, look and see what you put down. He's like, oh no. I'm like, yeah, that's super not what we want to do. Luckily, it was on stream.
I gotta say, Joe from War Games Live, who is the best streamer right now for doing 40K events, that man is a trooper. There was a little bit of an AC issue, even though it shouldn't be a time of the year where you have massive AC issues. There was an AC issue in the mall. Our floor didn't have the cranking AC, and that guy was in the hottest corner underneath bright lights the entire time, chugging water and being a trooper and getting all of that done and on stream. What a fantastic job he did.
Hopefully you guys had like an industrial fan or something on them.
They had a fan on them, but it was warm.
Were you guys still in the mall?
Still in the mall. Yeah, still in Palisades Mall in West Nyack. It's very nice that there's a hockey rink, 10 steps away from everything. So if you got
so it's in the same spot,
walk in there and go, and cool off for a minute and come back out.
You're never going to get anything wrong with me on team. I'm excited for teams. We've got, what do we got this year? Dallas. We've got ATC. We've got Daniel from Sweden coming in to play with us this year. We're bringing the international team this year.
Nice.
It's happening.
After judging this teams event, if there's anyone out there running a teams event and really need a judge and want to pay for for two guys from New York to come down and help you out, Zoobs and I would be more than happy to probably do it.
I have so many things about two guys and something, but
be good, Brad, be good.
All of the things. So Hunter, that's the kind of team event we want to do around here, but you have a minimum drinking that you're going to require to do. Team event, random pairings. Another good story. We had Team USA. We had lost our last game and we couldn't podium now. We lost and we're playing Australia in game 6 or 7. I can't remember what it was at the time. And the Australians went, Brad, shuffle and we'll just deal them out. And whoever plays whoever. And I'm like 100%. And this was when Gagno first started to be team captain. And he comes in like an 80s action movie star and dove over the table to stop this from happening. He's like, no, we are doing real pairings. Like, fine, Gagno.
Out of nowhere is please remember to like and subscribe to our channel and like our videos because it helps out with our matrices and makes us bring you more better content. So please do that.
He even said this before 7:30. Whoa!
I know, I was rocking out.
I will give props. Before we move on, I'm going to give, as Zoob said, full props to the BFS guys. They took care of us. They had plenty of beverages, food, whenever needed. They were awesome premier TOs. And the guys does great work. They always run good tournaments.
Yeah, Ed and Bobby and team were absolutely fantastic. I can say that when we got there, the event was all set up. They were ready to go. They asked us what we needed. If we had breakfast, food, a drink, they were phenomenal to us as judges who come down. And as I've always said, as judges, we volunteer our time. Everyone was just awesome to work with. It was absolutely fantastic.
I've only been to other events, and both times it's been, A+. But I still think Juice's team event we went to is like
that's pretty much
holy shit, that was good.
Yeah, Juice's place is
Juice
beautiful.
one, and then do those drinks. Like, I don't drink that much. You know that, Brian. Everyone else, I don't drink that much anymore. But there, they had me drinking because they had this some kind of berry drink, and it tasted like Kool-Aid, and it was delicious. And they got you drunk really quick. Also, my tolerance is like shitty now because I don't drink anymore.
All of the things.
That's a true story.
I'm gonna go to the wall for not the wall, but the actual Meta Monday stats. And I want to start before we go into the breakdown of what happened over the weekend. I do want to ask, why is Guard doing so much better internationally than it does in the States? Also in Canada. Like, if you look at the win rates of Guard in all of Europe, basically, and in Canada, it's significantly better than the US results. If you just went on that, Guard's crushing. And I'm not talking just teams, because he puts just the singles events in here. He doesn't put the singles data in. And you look at it, they're just significantly better in other places.
They also, for a while, like, it plays well into the meta if you think about it. Also with their boards, I think Guard plays really well. There was shit. In 9th edition, they had an army that was doing really well over there. Wasn't doing good over here too. I couldn't remember what it was though.
So a lot of the European stuff uses WTC scores, right? And Guard tends to be a little bit better in winning marginally.
Well, I think it's more about
that could be part of it. Not positive, but
when you look at overseas, it's either WTC or UKTC, right? Both boards Guard plays really well on.
Yeah, they're way more open than the GW tables are for them, for sure.
And they also play way more fixed than we do. And Guard does extremely
well. Jesus, they play
things.
crazy amounts of fixed. We play way more tactical than they do there.
Mm-hmm.
As
Like,
far
every time
as secondary choices, everyone. That's what we're talking about here.
Every time I play someone from international, they always go fixed. And I'm like, you playing fixed? It's like, no, I've never have. I don't play it. And since 10th, every single one of my games has been tactical. I don't see any. I like tactical. But I also like the fact that you can't plan against it. Like I can kind of plan for it, but you can't plan against it in a way because you get too much shit you're worrying about. Although what I'm going to draw.
I'm going to give a quick shout out to the guys, the Jamhammer guys, because we did have a great time at the Battle of the Base down in Dayton. So there you go, Garrett. You've been shouted out.
Yeah. It's one of those things. If I think Guard is they're number one, I think they're a skilled army to play. Especially with there was an Australian, I don't remember his name, who had a Guard list that was like 30 Karsakin, tons of stuff. Zubes was trying it out and having a good time with it. It was way more tactical, way more movement based, a lot more moving parts than what a lot of the Guard gun lines have been over the years. And I think once you got good with that army on the UKTC style stuff in the WTC terrain, it was really nice and tough to play against because of the recurring Karsakins and everything else. It was a good, solid army list. And it doesn't perform quite as well on the GW terrain. It's not bad on the GW terrain. It just doesn't quite have the lanes that it did on the GW terrain.
So, I had someone ask me this the other day. We were talking about teams. Brett, how do you feel about, for example, we have teams coming up, right? And we've been talking about it. What do you take in ATC?
I'm taking Orcs. I'm taking Orcs for the near future for myself. One, I'm excited about
the
them.
new Orcs Codex?
I love the new Orc Codex. I think it has a ton of flavor. But I enjoy playing Orcs. It's an army that I think fits very well into teams. And it's something I enjoy playing. And I think that's really important. We've talked about this before, is you want people that know an army inside and out. And I'll be playing Orcs at several singles events also. So I'm looking to play the same thing for a few months and really get those reps in. And it helps a ton when you take your bad matches.
Why do you guys have me on GSC for ATC then? I've never even played the army.
There's zero chance you play GSC. Tom would show up with GSC, play a half a game, and just wander away somewhere.
I'd sell the army.
It wouldn't even be his.
Yeah, whoever has it doesn't need it. Get rid of it.
Tom, what happened to my GSC army? Oh, I got annoyed at it, so I sold it.
So, Brad, which one are you the more excited for? The Bully Boys, the Green Tide, or this?
So I'm going to be playing Bully Boys, but if I wasn't broken, I would play Green Tide because I think it gives you more opportunities in team to bring more armies that have that horde-esque. So you can put, like when someone defends, especially if they're not great against horde, you can slam them down and give them terrible matches. So, and I think Green Tide's just gross. The fact that you can shut people's scoring down crazily, you to jump turn one a unit over, you can use the strat for, it would be +1 because it would be turn one to charge, and you get all the pain boys. You getting a 5-up invuln, rerolling ones, and a 5-up feel no pain, and then you can regen guys. That's just crazy durability for a horde army, and you can get big points, and or you can just grind out points against an army that you shouldn't be playing and just kind of weather that for a while, because that's not even a walk thing. They just have a 5-up invuln, so you can really grind people down. It's just one of those things where, can you play that for 5 to 7 games or whatever else? You know what I mean? For me, I think the answer is no. just because I'm old and broken. But I think that Green Tide is, man, that thing can just do nastiness. And you got the characters inside of the units just doing a lot of damage. Depending if you bring like Gaz with it, you can have a ton of lethal hits. It's devastating. Hold on real quick. We're going to go to the wall. Lyle Dixon, $2 super chat. First stream, my Crude Horde versus Brad's Green Tide. I would love to do that, actually. That sounds exciting.
So you're liking Bully Boys, right?
I like the Bully Boys quite a bit. There's a lot of, it's nice to have units of Mega Knobs with a 2-up with a 4-up Feel No Pain, and you got 2 Wogs, because that's when you get the 4-up Feel No Pain. And then they've got the Armor Content strat.
Well, hold on, before you tell us everything you want, I want you to give us 5 quick things you like about Bully Boys and why anyone who's an Orc fan that's watching us should consider running Bully Boys. Hit us with it.
Bully Boys, full rerolls on the strat, huge. It's super thematic with just all of the big bosses coming together to rampage forward, because all of your strats are centered around all knobs or better, basically. So I love the thematic of that. And I love getting all of the biggest and the best together and rampaging across the board. Also, double Wog is just fantastic to call. You're going to be hearing so many Wogs during tournaments right now with Bully Boys around, because they get to call it twice, and it's fantastic.
That's 2 things. Give us number 3.
Well, I mean, a lot of those go together. I like the fact that Mega Knobs are playable now. Mega Knobs were kind of meh for the last 2 editions, basically. And I love seeing them. They're supposed to be the best, the big brawlers. Them having that 4-up Feel No Pain during the Wog is huge. You drop them down, you get amazing. Also, that new that mech model is awesome. That's number 4, because I want to just take that. But I also have Gaz on my list now. And I like the idea of putting Gaz on the board and rocking it out.
And give us 1 super sauce. 1 cool combo that you don't see a lot of people talking about. 1 super sauce for us.
Taking the teleport enhancement on either your mech or your war boss, putting him in Mega Knobs, rapid ingressing him with a deep strike, then being in cover and popping the Armor Content strat, and then you have a 2-up save and you're ignoring up to AP2, and you have a 4-up Feel No Pain. Right. Yeah, you basically go,
enjoy.
Sometimes my Mega Knobs get killed. Today is not that day.
I love it.
Nice. Big fan. I gotta say, on the one more wrap up on the teams thing. The teams, I got inspired to just put together a team of guys who have not done really tournaments before, not done GTs, and just go and try and grind a teams event. I think it'd be absolutely awesome to put 1 or 2 experienced guys with 6 guys who haven't done it before and just have fun and show that teamwork and camaraderie can kind of ride you to a great event.
I mean, once you start doing team events,
about doing that.
Yeah,
if the next local event we go to, we're going to take 6 people who's never known before, and just me and Brad rocking out with them.
We're just
a really cool team spirit.
Cool. And the thing is team. It's hard to go back to singles events after you play a bunch of team events, because it's just not even remotely the same.
Yep.
Because I mean,
don't get me wrong, I love singles events. Teams events are a ton of fun. I love 40K, but man, teams events, at some point in time, I would love to try a different teams format, because we were spending quite a bit of time talking about it. A couple of the older gentlemen, so I'm going to go with mine and Brad's age and above. Ed wanted me to remind you, Brad, that you're not the oldest man in 40K. He is. Just wanted me to let you know that. And
I'm aging in dog years.
Different. You may be, but it was one of those things of, hey, there's got to be some other teams formats we haven't thought of, and we were just kind of pounding out some ideas, and it was really interesting to listen to some of the crazy ideas we came up with. So it was a good time.
I love it. I've got stuff and/or things. I'm gonna be trying. I have no idea what tournaments give me golden tickets. I'll just try to win a couple tournaments and see what happens. So.
You can definitely win you can win one of the golden tickets at the Salt City GT in Syracuse, August 9th, 10th, and 11th.
I'll be there.
Yeah, I already got dibs on that, though.
Oh, never mind. Tom's got that one.
Dibs. That works.
I am going to back-to-back tournaments. I feel like this is bad for my health, but exciting for the play. So I'm doing the North Carolina Devastation Nation Kung Fu Master. There can only be one Battle Under the Bridge or something, and then I'm doing Rocky Top.
Nice.
I need to get back to a 40K tournament.
Oh, Monic
Or at
coming
least
in.
when I go
Salt
to one.
City is mine. You guys are gonna have to.
Can't wait to see you there.
You're gonna have to have a duel in the parking lot.
Monic,
Highlander
Monic, I
style.
love you death, and you're an amazing player. But I'm a kryptonite, and it's been that way every tournament we've been together. Ain't changing, brother. Ain't changing. You're Superman. I'm Batman with a kryptonite glove.
I've
You know
heard
what I'm
that Scott is also coming out, so he has told me that he is winning. So we'll see what happens.
How is Salt City on conversions and 3D prints?
So Salt City loves conversions. We have nothing against 3D prints as long as they are fully painted to
They
a
can't
good
tell they're
standard.
3D printed. They can tell? No. If they can tell,
So pretty much once the player packet will be out, I actually think not too long because I'm almost done with it. There'll be a full thing in there. All you got to do is if you're not using the standard GW model, you have to email it to us and get approval for it. Outside of that, I am pretty laid back.
Oh, Lyle coming in to tell us what we're playing. Lyle, thanks for the final super chat. Brad and Tom's next event is the Team Practice Death Mojo Kondo RTT2 Electric Boogaloo. Beat Street back in the streets.
Show up to that one. I have a bad habit for last year, like not showing up. Cause my kid, it's you can't blame me though. I get ready to leave, I'm all packed up, and get ready to leave the night before to drive out there. And Wyatt goes, "No, Dad, you stay home. You want me to stay home? Yeah, you stay, Dad. We go swimming tomorrow." All right, you know what? Son of a bitch, I'm in. You had me at swimming with my son.
You had me at swimming. Weak sauce.
You know, real quick though, this weekend we get towel points, don't we? Someone told me.
Oh,
Because they're on pre-order, and then when the codex releases this weekend, right?
You should get them the Thursday before the release.
the release. Yep.
So that's like 2 days from now.
3 days.
Because they get released this
The
weekend.
pre-orders went up on Saturday. The release date I think is in a week and a couple days. So a week from this Thursday. You
Oh,
should
was
have-
it a 2-week pre-order?
Yeah, it's always 2
Yeah.
weeks.
Well, it just started
Yeah.
being. It used to not be. You remember?
Sad pain. I thought
What is it?
I was finally gonna be able to like start theory crafting
What's
and listing it.
what kind of nonsense is Still Frosty sending that he had to retract 2 different messages, man? What kind of craziness? Also, Tom, fix Nightbot.
So still Frosty is going to Salt City and going to win his second golden ticket he states.
Oh,
So,
Brandon, we know that you're going to be 7th. We've already decided your place.
You know, Brandon's going. You know what? I might have to take second. Brandon might win it.
He's on a roll.
I mean, he is on a roll. I mean, he did win Adepticon, which is a hellacious endurance tournament. So,
8 games in 2 days? Yeah, it sounds brutal. You know what?
Oh,
when
wait,
I don't play
we're
anymore?
Hold on a minute. Well, just for me, the reason why I played it as condo is because points are out for theory crafting. Son of a bitch, I'm back in. You got me.
What is it this weekend or next weekend?
oh, Brad, just to let you know, the second best general award does actually say Brad Place.
Yes. Yeah, but exactly. Brandon maybe 7th, but Brad is
really
always
good
second.
ideas from the BFS team on some awards. So trust me, we're going to be doing something. So yeah.
Garrett, thoughts on Rough Riders? I always want Rough Riders in everybody's army just so I can sing DMX and then say Rough Rider.
What day is it, Lyle?
I'm assuming it's Saturday.
We'll have to let the wifey know. Otherwise, I will be killed.
Stabbed.
And by the way, Eloise, if you come to Salt City, the first drink's on me.
Yes.
And every drink after it's on me, baby girl. I got you.
We need to have the same bartenders we had before. That guy was amazing.
We're at a different hotel this year, but the nice part about the hotel this year is they were talking to me. They were like, yeah, we had a board game convention in here and people got mad when we didn't open the bar early enough. So we're going to open the bar at 8 a.m. And I was like, that's before we even start rolling dice. She goes, is that okay? And I'm like, absolutely. Good times.
Love it. I love everything about that. That's they're like, do you guys want to be drinking right away? I'm like, yeah,
Oh,
man. Eloise.
is
Mother's
August
Day
8th,
weekend.
or,
Probably not
sorry.
gonna be able to make that.
Salt City is the 9th, 10th, and 11th of August in Syracuse, New York.
I always forget that you're Syracuse.
Syracuse,
and
New York.
not Chester. The Rochester, that is.
So on our drive to BFS, by the way, you had to drive through the towns of Chester and Horton.
Yes.
So it was really funny that they had to enter both of us to go to BFS.
All the way up and inside.
And just like that, we're canceled again. We got it, boys.
Damn it. We barely got through
it. Got us again.
all of the things
I mean, I
and
never
stuff.
got canceled. Can't cancel when you don't give a fuck. But, you know.
Eloise, you and Brandon are moving so far away that you're in your own time zone that we're just going to call Eloise time because it doesn't
Where
exist.
are you guys moving, Eloise? I see up north, and I'm not sure what part of north.
It's so north. It's not even north. It's
North
north.
of Maine.
It's so far east. It's like throwing a boomerang. It's almost like my golf swing sometimes.
Nova
it is
Scotia.
way to the right.
That is way up north. Yes, that is definitely north.
It's not even just north. It's so east, dude. It's literally in its own time deal. You GPS that, it's like, why are you...
back in, boys. We're being reined back in by KR. Meta Talk.
Meta Talk, 100%. Let's go into this. Thousand Suns topped it again.
Yeah.
58% win rate. We had Necrons. Necrons have been really starting to make themselves present. They haven't had a wildly oppressive reign, but they are doing really, really well. They've been winning over 55. They've been winning at 55 for the 12 weeks. And I don't know what we're going to say. Obviously, we had some point on the Catan, but here's the thing. I was just talking about this earlier today. They raised the price of the Catan, but they took the price down for all the good trash. Death marks, flayed ones, all that stuff went down. He's the most effective Nightbot. So, is our Necrons where they should be? What are your guys' opinion on that? Because I don't really think Necrons are oppressive, and people are just going to throw shit at me for this, but I think they are what they are. You know what I mean? I think that it takes a little bit of a gentlemanship to really dominate with them, but I think they have all the tools.
I think in a great player's hands, in a very good player's hands, Necrons can feel oppressive. But I think Necrons grind out wins a lot. They don't just overwhelm and thump you into the ground, which leaves you with a bad feeling. I just think they grind you out really, really well. I think Necrons needed a light touch. I think they got a weird touch. I don't think they quite got the touch they were looking for. I don't think Catan's got enough of an increase, in my opinion. But I think the army on a whole is going to keep winning at a good win rate. They're going to be in the 54, 55 range still for a while.
How much was there an extra nerf to the list, though? If you're running the same list, if all the stuff you're already taking is down, it's almost a wash.
It's almost exactly the same. I think one of the hypercrypt list that my boy Jason was taking was different, not Snakes, but Jason from Milwaukee. His whole list went up 75 points. He dropped one unit of Tomb Blades and was just like, I'll just take the same thing.
Yeah, I think we were talking about this over the weekend with a lot of different people. We felt like the points change was largely irrelevant overall to the meta, which is kind of what we wanted. We didn't want them to mess it up too much. We just wanted them to raise those lower things up. And talking with a couple people who really love AdMech as armies, we're like, yeah, all they did was make it so I have to buy more units and paint more stuff to be competitive with it. And they were like, I just don't think they did enough to make it super competitive.
Brian, you got a shout out. You were shout out to the bottom left.
It just seemed like one of those. They didn't do enough to affect the meta a lot, and it's one of those weird ones. Basically, it seemed like a largely irrelevant points change.
Yeah, I didn't think. I mean, the list didn't change a ton. I'm terrified of Thousand Suns. I think Thousand Suns were already doing well, and they didn't get giant point decreases, KR, but they did get nothing but a little bit of love. Cultists and things went down. you're getting a little more stuff. Now that army, again, we talked about it before, feel like the most devastating army in the world, and it can also have the wheels fall off in 2 seconds because a lot of things have to be. There's a lot of moving parts for Thousand Sons for sure. So, now here's the army that I'm still scared about. Sisters of Battle, run by a talented pilot, has the ability to pretty much take on everything. They're winning at 54 for 12 weeks. They had a 57% and another 2 wins this week. Are they where they should be? I think they are. What are your? I will go to Tom first, then I'll go to you, Brian, second. What does your sisters take, Tom?
I think sisters are right where they need to be. We've said it for a while. You got a little bit of fine tuning. And the skilled hands, they've always been a strong army. We've said that since day 1 of 10th. You know, like we watched one of our boys, Scott, like basically run tournaments with them, like just making it all the way to the final couple and either winning or being damn near close. And that was since day 1 in the index, right? It's one of those armies though that has a skill cap. You can't just pick it up and just win with it. I mean, look at Admech, for example. In 9th, you know, I tried to pick up Admech because I thought it was gonna be broken, and I would like to think I'm a decent player, and I couldn't pilot Admech to where I wanted to, where I sold the army my first tournament I played it in. It's a tough army to really take extra mileage, but when you get it into a skilled player's hands, they can, you know, you give them a take a mile or take a mile every time.
Yeah. So another army that I want to talk about this week is Demons. Chaos Demons have.
Well, give Brian his chance to talk about.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I apologize. I usually have him go first.
That's all right. That's all right.
Go your sister's take.
I think Sisters needed 1 or 2 units to go up a few more points than what they did. I really think Arcos needed a little bit more of a points tuning. But I think they're in a spot where it takes skill to run them, and I agree with Tom on this one. It takes that faction specialist who has tinkered and done everything to do it. I've watched new players try and pick up and run the quote-unquote meta sisters list and struggle mightily with it because they don't understand all the little nuances and moving parts with it and the timing that you need to have. So I think it's one of those things of it's in a spot where it needs to be just because of super skilled players and faction specialists thought of 1 or 2 things needed a little more tinkering, but still a solid army. I think it's going to continue to do well.
Agreed.
All right.
Now Demons.
Well, I'm going to go to the wall, and then I'm going to go to Demons, because I want to go kind of deep into Demons before we go. Johnny goes, hey, Brad, what orc detection are you most excited about? And is there a sleeper one you think is under the radar? I'm tied with Bully Boys and Green Tide, and I think the sleeper one is the base detachment is amazing, and not enough people are talking about it. It still has like the best strats probably, and it has 2 of the best enhancements in the game. Everyone's so excited because it's new. They want to look at the new stuff, but War Horde is unbelievably bonkers strong, and I wouldn't be surprised if a month or so in you see a lot of people just go back to playing that because it's really good.
Well, the same thing happened to Marines when they got their detachment during the way. Like people played the new shiny stuff for like a month or 2, and then we've seen Gladius everywhere still.
Yep, still came back to Gladius, 100% Tom. Now let's go to Demons on the Wall. So Demons won 56% this weekend. They won, I think it was 54 the week before that. They're 51 for 12 weeks, but I think that the last few weeks especially, it feels like they've really been making an impact, and it felt like they were really making an impact in a lot of these team events, which aren't even on the stats here on that. So, like, what are your guys' thoughts on where Demons are in the meta? Because with those points drops that they got, they just have a lot more stuff. You know what I mean? And they didn't have anything happen to them in this point. You know, in the most recent here, Ministerium Field Manual. There you go. But nothing bad happened to them. So I don't see anything but upside. And I actually like Demons a lot where they are right now because they don't feel oppressive and they feel like you can just put the trash out. You can put the big guys out. You can put combinations and stuff out. I think this is. If you want to be fair, to be fair, I think that Demons might be in the sweet spot where your army should be, in my opinion.
I agree that Demons are in a good sweet spot. I think it takes a lot of skill to pilot the army. I think their movement is, as in a lot of 40K movements, really key. But their movement is one of the hardest to get down because you have to kind of time a lot of your close combat stuff because you're not oppressing somebody with shooting. You're not oppressing them with innate powers. You're just kind of grinding a little bit and then hitting with great charges. It's one of those things of where you have to figure out how to use your Bellacore, your Great Unclean One, and find that nuance. And it's tough to do, but I think in the right hands and through time and play, you will get it down very well.
So slightly unpopular opinion here, and before we're gonna right mindset, but I always thought demons were okay before. I just think people weren't playing them because there was obviously a few armies that were super geared to go high in the meta, right? And you see all the top players flock them. It's one thing when me and you always talk about, Brad, and I never, why I love all the work that Meta Monday does, I never put too much stock in meta rankings because what a lot of people don't talk about is a lot of the top armies that do extremely high win rates. It's because a lot of top players are flocking to that army, that like the bandwagon hoppers, and it's going to skew the results, Well, in the first couple months or first half, we'll say, of time that the 10th has been out, you've seen a lot of top players on specific factions. As we start seeing the factions get more equalized with each other, you start seeing top players spread out more to like their faction specialist armies that they play. So you start seeing a lot of people going back to demons. Even before the point shop, I heard people talk about it. There's a really decent list over in Europe. There's a couple over in the States that were doing all right. And then they got the points drop, and they just took it over the edge, in my opinion. Like, I don't think they're broken, but I think they're extremely strong. And if you get someone who understands the nuances of that army, it can go the distance in a GT real easy. So I never thought they were in a bad place. It's just that people wanted to play the flashy armies, the new stuff before it got nerfed. And then you have also some top players like, well, listen, I'm not going to play the things that I came up with right away. I'm going to ride this thing out until it gets nerfed, and then I'll go to the thing that I saw that no one else was really talking about and ride that as an advantage, which I've never really enjoyed that mindset, but I think they're a good army, and I think they're a really good army now for the point shop.
I agree on that.
Yeah. One of the things that I'm seeing is there's right now in 40K that is good for the game. I actually want to go with great for the game. There is no army when you walk up to the table and they put it down, you go, crap, this sucks. I don't want to play this game. It's an auto loss every time. Now, when you get up to a table, you're like, all right, I'm not favorable into this, but I can grind out a lot of points. Maybe I can eke out the win if I play really cagey. It's one of those things. It's I think we're in a good spot.
Brad, Wall.
Oh, God damn it. I didn't see it at first. Maybe I just didn't want to see it. Probability $1 Super Chat. One more. Go Blue.
Go Blue.
All right, so Barad, promote your stuff.
40K Lorecast. Join the Discord. Come in. Listen to it. The Discord is going great. We have all the different channels have so much activity. It's fantastic. It's really going well, and I love to hear it. And get into the 40K Lorecast Discord if you like the lore, but also you guys really determine what we're going to record next. Basically, the last 4 or 5 episodes we've been doing are from people guiding where they want the show to go. So, yes, do that.
So the thing I'm going to shout out, always, thesaltcitygt.com, August 9th, 10th, and 11th. The 40K event is starting to fill up. I recommend signing up soon. It is an absolutely fun time. It's 3 rounds on Friday, 2 on Saturday, 2 on Sunday. Saturday night is one of the best nights of 40K. After party of chat, talk, and going over 40K, along with having some beverages and hanging out that you will ever have in your life.
Can confirm.
Wall.
Loudly some $2 Super Chat. Let's get a bow glue for the road.
I'm going to shout something out here. I don't do a lot of shout outs, but I'm also going to shout out Salt City GT, August 9th, 10th, and 11th. Great 40K event, and apparently there's some cool after 40K drinking or something. I'm already lost from what he said, but I'm an advocate for it.
So, hey, just to let you know, Tom, the 11th is my birthday. On Saturday night, we're having a Brian birthday party. So it's going to be a good time.
Yes, the pen's already kicking in, so I'm already losing my memory for a few moments here.
Celebrate good times. Come on.
And on that,
Queen's
stay
Wave.
friends.